If I was drafting a fantasy football team today, these are the 10 must-have players I would absolutely need to draft. Starting with an elite alpha wide receiver in one of the league's best offenses, tied to a very good real-life and fantasy quarterback, and despite not having that quarterback for 5 games last season, still finished as the 6th highest scoring wide receiver, and from week 7 on, when he did have that quarterback, he was the 4th highest scoring wide receiver, averaging almost 20 points per game. Outside of Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, and Cooper Kupp, I believe CeeDee Lamb has the best chance as finishing as fantasy's top scoring wide receiver in 2023. Now to a running back who really hasn't lived up to expectations in his first 3 seasons, has missed a lot of time due to injuries, but showed last season what he is capable of. Over his last 4 games, averaged almost 100 yards per game and 7 yards per carry. He was a great prospect coming out of college, was drafted in the 2nd round of the draft. He's a workhorse running back. He gets most of the goal line work in this offense. And now he's 2 years removed from a serious ACL injury. He should be 100%. And I feel he has true top 10 upside, but J.K. Dobbins is being severely undervalued as the running back 23 in drafts right now. Now on to a second-year wide receiver who, as a rookie, averaged almost 15 yards per reception and had 7 touchdowns. And over his last 8 games, he averaged over 65 yards per game. He's a freak athlete who can always hit on a big play. Just get him the ball in space and he can make it happen. Now he's entering year 2. I think we see a breakout this year. Last year, I was all over Devonta Smith making a second-year breakout. This year, it's Christian Watson. Now let's talk about a quarterback who had less passing yards than Jimmy Garoppolo and Jacoby Brissett, neither of who played the full season, by the way, and only threw 17 touchdowns last year. So why do I like him? For his legs. He had more rushing yards than Travis Etienne, Kenneth Walker, and Christian McCaffrey. And from week 7 on, he was the quarterback 3 behind only Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. And his team is in a prime position to surround him with massive talent, both on the offensive line and at wide receiver. I think the Bears do it, and I think Justin Fields has a Jalen Hurts type leap this year because he'll have better protection and better weapons. Combined with that rushing upside, he has true league-breaking potential. Not a lot of people noticed that this wide receiver had a 3rd-year breakout last year, going over 1,000 yards and catching 8 touchdowns, finishing as a wide receiver 17 in PPR leagues. Yet he's being drafted as the wide receiver 36 currently, is outside the top 70 players. But because his team is loaded with offensive talent, people are worried he won't be a week-to-week consistent producer. But he can, because he's certifiably great at football and great at the wide receiver position. Brandon Ayuk has both the talent and the situation to have a massive breakout this year and become one of the elite fantasy wide receivers, and he's coming at an extreme discount. All right, let's give tight ends some love. This guy finished 6th among all tight ends in both receptions and receiving yards, had 98 targets, which was the 2nd most on his team, but he only scored 2 touchdowns last year, had terrible touchdown luck, but still finished as the PPR tight end 6th. His quarterback entering year 2 should get better going into this year. Pat Freiermuth is the perfect late round tight end if you're not taking Travis Kelce early. Gotta have a rookie running back on this list because rookie running backs are undervalued every single year. We saw it last year with Kenneth Walker, Tyler Algier, Dameon Pierce before he got hurt, Breece Hall before he got hurt. And it's going to happen again this year, and it already is with Bijan Robinson. I don't care where he lands. I don't care that he hasn't been drafted in the NFL. He's an elite talent, a generational talent. He has elite ability to run between the tackles, outside the tackles, and he has elite ability to catch passes, and he's a great pass blocker. He's going to be a 3-down, every down back who can absolutely smash in fantasy football. I don't care where he lands. Bijan Robinson is my guy. Speaking of rookies, our sponsor Manscaped.com just added a new rookie to the product line. It is their Beard Hedger Beard Trimmer. I just used it and my beard feels and looks fantastic, if I do say so myself. If you have a beard, or if you have hair or use men's products at all, I highly recommend Manscaped.com. Every one of their products I've used is awesome. If you use promo code ENDGAME at checkout, you'll get 20% off plus free shipping. If you've got a beard, get the Beard Hedger. If you don't have a beard, they have other incredible products like body wash, cologne, other grooming tools. Check it out, manscaped.com, use promo code ENDGAME. Now, if I can't land Justin Fields, the next quarterback I'm looking at made an absolute breakout in 2022, threw for over 4,000 yards and 25 touchdowns, also added 291 rushing yards and 5 more rushing touchdowns. This guy was a generational talent coming out of college, is in a great situation, and his team just added an elite wide receiver that he's going to have in 2023. So for me, if I can't get Justin Fields or I miss out on some of those early quarterbacks, I am more than happy drafting Trevor Lawrence a little bit later. I talked about Christian Watson as a second-year wide receiver that I liked, but I like this second-year wide receiver even more. Had over 1,100 yards and 4 touchdowns last year despite having horrendous quarterback play for the entire season. He should be looking at a true quarterback upgrade this year, and he's an elite alpha wide receiver, was a tremendous prospect coming out of college. Garrett Wilson, coming off Offensive Rookie of the Year, should only get better in year 2 and needs to be considered a top 10 fantasy wide receiver this year. And then finally, let's end with a running back who averages over 5.1 yards per carry for his career, averages just about 90 yards per game, has scored 33 touchdowns in 41 games, gives you everything you want in fantasy. He's a stud, he's talented, he gets the usage, but he burned people last year. He's kind of getting that injury-prone label, but as we've seen with guys like Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey, all it takes is 1 year of not getting injured and suddenly everybody's back on the bandwagon. Well, don't wait till it's too late. Draft him this year. Jonathan Taylor will have a big bounce back season and has a legit case as finishing as the top scoring running back in fantasy. But if you want to check out more great content like this, check out our fantasy football playlist right here.